this movement. I've done quite a few trips now solo, and I'm here to expel your fear. Expelliarmus. Oh, I need my wand. Expelliarmus. Are they gone? Yeah? Great. See you guys later. No, I'm joking. Obviously they're not gone. I've spoken to a lot of people, and whenever I talk to someone and tell them about how I travel by myself, the first thing they always say is, "Oh my god, Kesvi, you're so brave." Now that is not a way that I will personally describe myself, but I can understand where people are coming from when they say that. Solo traveling to me is not that scary. Now it definitely didn't start that way. I was terrified my first trip abroad by myself. My first actual trip abroad by myself, where I was going like a long distance, was Borneo, and I was doing 2 months voluntary work over there, and I don't think I've ever been so scared in my whole entire life about going somewhere by myself. I had never done a connection flight by myself. I'd never been that far away from home by myself, and I'd never spent 2 months anywhere where I couldn't go see my family or my friends. And I jumped into the deep end in that sense. It was hands down one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my whole entire life. But first, before we get into like the people's fears of solo traveling, I just want to make a quick note. I'm not just talking about going away for 2 months, going away for 1 year. I mean any kind of trip. Actually just deciding to go on a weekend away to like Rome, or going like 2 weeks to Cuba by yourself. There's lots of reasons why people end up going by themselves, and I know there's a stigma around going on holiday by yourself, but what I'm saying is just because other people don't want to go with you doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. But let's talk about these fears, shall we? A lot of people think that when you go traveling solo, you do a lot of stuff by yourself. This is not true. Obviously, there are times when you are going to be by yourself, you're going to be on the plane by yourself, or you're going to be traveling to a hostel by yourself, but that is not the case for the whole holiday or the whole travel experience, because you meet people along the way that are doing exactly the same thing as you. The people that I've met while I've been traveling, even though I would have only spent like a couple of weeks with them, or like even like 2 or 3 days, some of them are my closest friends and I love them. Shout out to all my traveling buddies. And so if you are like want to go away and you want to go by yourself, or like you kind of have to go by yourself, one thing that I always tell people, and if you want to meet people while you're traveling, please stay in hostels. You don't have to stay in dorms. I mean, I always suggest staying in a dorm. It doesn't have to be a big dorm. Like a dorm of 6 is normally enough people that you will meet at least one of them and be able to like spark up conversation. Hostels aren't just sharing rooms. You can get private rooms in hostels. You don't have to share a room just because you're staying in a hostel. It's like staying in a hotel, but with that added social aspect, which is awesome. And that social aspect is so important when you're going on holiday by yourself, even if it's just for a week, because it also gives you ideas on different places that you can go. It's not just about being social, it's also about bouncing ideas off each other, and you end up having a better holiday because you're there with people that also really want to be there. Yeah, so I hope that can help you guys understand why it's not an issue traveling. Another point that I always get is it safe? Oh god, oh my god, I'm gonna fall over. Safety is key. Feels like the lighting's changed again because Rock and I have reshot this so many times. Yeah, safety's so important. Everyone needs to feel safe, and especially when you're traveling, you're by yourself, you don't have any family and friends around you. It's so important that you feel like you're not in danger. Yeah, and generally in cities and towns, like places that I've been to specifically, I mean, I've been to El Salvador, and everybody I spoke to was scared for me that I went to El Salvador, but honestly, the people there were nothing but lovely. They all helped me. I was lost at one point with my backpack and my handbag and everything. I had everything on me, and the locals there did everything they could. They found me a taxi so they could get me to my hostel, and it was honestly one of the most loveliest experiences I've ever had. and I was so surprised by how kind they were. And the same with any time I've stayed in a hostel. Everybody that I've met in hostels are always just so welcoming. Like, the best thing about traveling is a whole network of people and you guys have each other's backs, and that's so important. And it's so important, like, people backpacking or even just staying in a hostel for a week feel that security. They are in the same boat as you and they want to stay safe too, and they want to have a good time. I can see why people are concerned when it comes to traveling by yourself, and especially as a female, I can tell you it is possible to travel safely. I think I like this angle better because I am looking up at you, so you can't see my double chin, which is nice. And the last thing that people say to me a lot is like they don't know how they'd start, they don't know where they're going, and it's so easy once you start looking. So the lighting's a little bit different because it is golden hour now. There's so many different resources you can use. The world is literally at your fingertips. So I'm gonna list a few ideas so that you guys understand how many different ways there is to planning a trip, whether it's just like a 1 week holiday or it's a 3-month backpacking journey. So my first tip is make a list of places that you want to go and kind of group them and write down how long you think you want in each of those places. And so a good way, if you don't know how long you want in some place, goes into my second tip, is find blogs or even YouTube channels that have like tips on these places that you want to go, because there's so many telling you what they loved about a place and why they loved it. And my third tip, if you don't know how to start, is talk to some friends. And the best thing about asking people that you know is that they know what you like and don't like, and they can give you tips. Fourth one, which is really specific, I think, to solo travelers, is you can find so many Facebook groups. Each country will have its own specific backpack group. I'm part of like the Australia one, the Canadian one. I actually had to leave the Australian one because I was so upset when I left Australia that I just couldn't see those posts, because every time I'd see the posts I would like want to cry because I could see all these people still in Australia and I just wasn't there. I just thought that it wasn't recording and I was saying all this stuff to a camera that wasn't recording me, which would have been really shit. Yeah, Facebook groups. This kind of ties in with like my first and second point too, because there are so many people on these Facebook groups doing very similar things to you. It's a great way to make friends and network. I wanted to do a road trip around Jasper and Banff, and I found the 3 people that I did that road trip on a Canadian backpackers group, and we had the best time. It was one of my favorite 2 weeks in Canada that I had. Definitely worth like joining these Facebook groups if you are going to go be traveling by yourself. And my last point, number 5, you don't have to travel on your own in the sense that you have to like sort everything out yourself. There's quite a few tour groups that you can join that will probably be doing a route that you want to do. People like G Adventures, Intrepid, Contiki, they do tours everywhere in the world basically. G Adventures specifically, I went on a tour with them around Peru and I absolutely loved it because I had like a short amount of time and I wanted to see as much as possible, and I wasn't confident about going all the way over there by myself because I didn't want to like waste the time that I had. The tour itself was awesome. I saw and learned so much more than I probably would have if I'd gone by myself, so it's definitely worth it. I'm going to be putting this whole list down in the description. Also check out my blog, which is officially live. I'm going to be adding it to it every week, like these videos. Every week you're going to get a new blog post. I hope that I have helped you guys subside the fear enough for you to start planning your next adventure. So let me know in the comments below if I've helped at all. I know quarantining and lockdown is still very, very, very real, and everyone still needs to stay super, super safe, but it's a time where things are starting to get relaxed. So let me know where you want your next trip to be, and I'm going to see you next time. Like and subscribe. Stay safe. I love that you guys are here. Like, it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy that you are watching my videos and that I am helping you. Like, I don't think you understand how much it means to me. Like, I know people say it on videos all the time, but genuinely, like, it does mean so